Hello everybody, 'tis I, the Rumpled One, coming to you from the mighty Pacific Ocean. Just got out of a meeting a few minutes ago, and it was about grant writing for nonprofits. And one of the guys that was leading the meeting, took questions. So my first question to him was, how much money in grants is available out there? He told me billions, with a B, billions. And I said, well, if that's the case, we've got all these people with all this money supposedly doing all this good. Why are things the way they are? And so this was during break when I asked the question. So when he, got the group back together, he put the question out to the whole group. He thought it was a brilliant question. I don't say that to give myself a pat on the back. I say that because to me it's so obvious that there's something wrong with the picture. And then we got to talking about other things, and he said something to the effect that, well, Avery's right, but the problem is that these are complex problems. So I just sat there and waited, and then after his presentation was done, I walked up to him. I said, there are no complex problems. They're all simple problems. People just make them complex. And then he said, well, I said, can you even give me an example of something you think is a complex problem? And he said, homelessness. I said, that's not a complex problem. That's simple. I said, number one, let's define homelessness. I mean, most people think if you don't have a roof over your head on a piece of land, basically a structure, you're homeless. I go, well, what about back, in the, 1800s, when people were coming across the country in a covered wagon? Were they homeless? What about people up in Alaska who live in the woods, off the land and the sea? Pitch a tent. Are they homeless? You see, part of the problem is what makes it complex is how you define the situation. And I said, I'll give you a perfect example. I said that I was reading a book, or in the process of reading a book, and it's talking about crime in the city and crime rates and how the rates have increased and decreased and blah, blah, blah. But it hit me like a ton of bricks. What's not discussed is the law rate. Now, if you've been watching my videos, I think you know that I said as of January 1, 2014, 40,000 new laws went on the books across this land called the USA, aka Land of the Free. And I posed the question, if at the end of 2013 we had 0 laws, and at the beginning of 2014 we suddenly have 40,000 new laws, how can we be considered the land of the free? You see, maybe the problem isn't the crime rate, maybe it's the law rate, but we don't really discuss the law rate. There is something called the Freedom Index, where there's some organization that polls all the countries across this third stone from the sun called the Earth, and it ranks them in different categories on their freedom. Well, the U.S. dropped out of the top 10. Is that a surprise? Don't you think there's something wrong with that picture if the land of the free is isn't the number 1 on that list? Obviously our elected officials forgot something. But maybe we the people forgot something too. Maybe we forgot that this is supposed to be the land of the free and not the land of the tax slaves. Because that's what you are. You're a tax slave. Don't believe me? Try not paying your taxes. Then you will see the force of the government come down upon you to smite you and those like you. So you see, It's pretty funny when you take a big picture view and you don't accept the standard definitions. In fact, I met a friend I hadn't seen in a couple years. He was in the Philippines, met a woman, got married, came back, now has a son and another child on the way. And he was telling me, he goes, yeah, she grew up poor. She never had a hot bath or shower till, you know, she met my friend Steve. So I looked at her, I asked, I said, when you were growing up, did you know you were poor? And she said yes. And it was like, well, how did you know? Because she saw on TV movie stars, you know, living in big homes, driving fancy cars and wearing nice clothes. And she wanted to be like that. But I know of places I've been to in Mexico where people have dirt floors, but they don't know they're poor. They don't act like they're poor. They're eating. They have clothes on their back. They even have a roof over their head. They party, as in, you know, cook up food, play music, dance, drink. And they do this on a regular recurring basis. Are they poor? It depends on how you define the word poor. I mean, it's really funny when you think about it. This minimalism is just taking hold here in America. You know, you got all these websites dedicated to simple life. I think Ben Franklin and Thoreau and Emerson, I think they would probably chuckle at all this. That these people are out there buying books and going to webinars on how to live simply. How to live the simple life. Do you really need somebody to tell you how to live simply? I mean, it's like if you read any of those home magazines, you almost always see an article about organization, organizing your stuff and junk. Some of them even suggest getting rid of it and then replacing it with more junk, the junk they want you to buy. I mean, once again, we've been so bamboozled. We've been so brainwashed, so programmed. What's the solution? Question authority, push back, fight back. Decide whether or not freedom is what you want, because if you have true freedom, then what that means is you're responsible for your actions and inactions. You're responsible for what you do and what you don't do. You're responsible for your own well-being. That's what freedom really means. You don't get to take from somebody else just because they have more. That's not in the equation. You got to go out and earn more for yourself. You got to work for it. You know, it's funny too, if you look at all the popular books that are coming out, have been out, talk about happiness. You know, happiness isn't found in stuff, it's found within. You know, people spend lots of money going to yoga retreats and, you know, these wise people from afar, and, you know, who wear robes and speak with what we would consider a funny accent. Somehow we think that the foreign is the real truth. But no, you can find it right here. You don't need to listen to somebody in a funny robe with a funny accent to gain wisdom. Probably go down to your local barber shop or wherever the old folks gather, and they could probably set you straight for cheap. Go to old folks' home. They just like somebody to talk to, they can tell them stories to. I don't know, it's just, to me, life is just so funny. It really is. I mean, we've got what? Christie and his bridge controversy. We got Hillary with Benghazi. And these are the leading candidates for our next president. I mean, come on, people. We can do better than this. We just need to wake up. You know that. I mean, really. What is wrong with these people? I saw something on Facebook. What was it? what if the Democrat Party and the Republican Party are really all one and the same? Well, we know that's the case. I mean, the funny thing is that I think most people in this country could probably be considered insane, because if we as a group keep doing the same thing and keep expecting different results, isn't that the definition of insanity according to Einstein? Why are we insane? Why do we continue to do things that are insane? Make insane decisions? You know, it's funny, working out, for example. I work out pretty much 5 days a week because to me it's important. There's no excuses. Unless I'm dead, unless I'm bedridden with an injury or illness, or unless for some reason I've been compelled to be in court at my designated exercise time, I'm up. I don't care how hot or cold it is, and I'm ready to exercise. Do I like it? No, I really don't for the most part, but I like the result. I have to work for it. As Jillian says on her DVDs, you can't phone it in, you got to bring it. But once again, that goes back to personal responsibility and decisions. And why do we make decisions that we know really isn't in our best long-term interest? I mean, what is it about our personal psychology that causes us to do that? Shoot ourselves in the foot repeatedly. You know, all those self-help books all say the same thing. You know, every day you got to make a decision, moment by moment. Do you get better each day, or do you fall behind or stay the same? Choice is yours, pretty much. You get to decide. Do you leave that donut, or do you pick it up? And do you eat healthy, or do you eat junk? Do you buy something you don't need, or do you save your money? Just all little decisions, you know, $1 here, you know, 10 minutes there, but it adds up. You know, our most precious resource is life. They like to say that, you know, this planet, we're going to run out of resources. It's limited resources. Is it? I mean, how much fossil fuel is there? Do we care? I mean, look at the water out there. Can't drink it unless you purify it, but guess what? You can do that. So what is the real question? Think about it. What is the real question? What should you be focused on? I can't decide it for you. You have to decide that for yourself, but think about it. What is the thing that you need to focus on a regular recurring basis to make your life better, your health better, your mind better, your body better, you know, your family better? Those are kind of tough questions, but they're simple questions. And the thing is, you know the answers. I don't have to tell you. I can't. Only you can. You've got to make the decision, and you've got to take action, and then you either reap the rewards or the consequences for the failure to do so. That simple. It's that simple. So anyway, I hadn't shot a Mighty Pacific video in a while, so I hope you guys have enjoyed the view, enjoyed my little rant, I guess we could call it. Just sharing some thoughts. I hope 2014's treating you well so far. And this is the Rumpled One signing off.